All right, here we are talking about spiritual awakening. So this is an episode of Nat's Chat, so this isn't gonna be like a super long video. It's gonna be, again, like a snippet form. But if you guys are interested in having me do a more in-depth video on my spiritual awakening, because obviously that's a spiritual awakening can't be perfectly consolidated into a small format. But I just wanted to, the point of this Nat's Chats is not really to share the whole experience of my spiritual awakening, but kind of just share what got me through it all. Because I feel like if I didn't have this tool, this ability, I think I wouldn't be where I am because of what my spiritual awakening shook up for me. So let's jump into it. If you're new, hi, I'm Natalie. This is Be a Free Spirit. The focus on this channel is only the self. So I focus on self-development, self-awareness, self-love, anything to do with the self, all in the intention of guiding you through ascension. So I'm just here to be that guide and that support system for you. So let's kind of jump into it. I actually had my spiritual awakening back in 2018. I had a divine counterpart who ignited me and completely just pulled me out of a transition, out of a cycle that my family had been repeating, and I was in line to repeat the same thing. And the universe obviously was like, no. And so I got ignited by this divine counterpart. And then, of course, as you guys know, probably with divine counterparts, there was a very painful separation. So I started going through my dark night of the soul, and the dark night of the soul is really, the point of it is to show you the things that are not serving you, the things that are not part of your soul's alignment. They were part of what your ego had created while your soul was pushed down and asleep, right? And so the hard thing for me was when I had my spiritual awakening, I didn't quite wake up to the spiritual side, in the sense that I hadn't really gotten into spirituality at this point yet. So I was just really into self-growth and development. That was kind of just that was all of a sudden what I became obsessed with. So I completely took off and grew. Same with my divine counterpart. We just ignited and kind of went our separate ways on our own journeys. So fast forward, to 2020, during those couple of years, again, I'm not completely in my spiritual knowing or awareness yet. And during this dark night of the soul, because I didn't understand what was happening to me, I was very depressed. I had an eating disorder, very just stuck to wanting my old life. I was very stuck to wanting my old life. That was like the biggest thing that I kept. That's why my dark night of the soul, I think, was so long, because I was fighting the change. And of course that happened how exactly it was meant to, and I understand now, and I don't go back and blame myself for not doing anything differently, because I truly didn't know. And then, in 2020, of course, COVID hit and I got laid off from my job. And at first I was, of course, terrified, but then I was relieved, because this job I manifested this job, even before I knew what manifesting was. I had manifested this job, and it was a huge pay increase for me. It was a title increase. I literally thought it was gonna be that new journey for me, that new transition, and I could kind of feel that energy of just wanting to leave the past behind me. And of course it was meant to be the catalyst that it was, but it ended up being such a toxic environment for me, and very degrading in ways, and I just fell deeper and deeper into my depression, especially when I was working there. That's really when I got my eating disorder, and so I was just really going down into a dark place. And then I got laid off. And you know, it was all of a sudden like all this weight had been lifted off my shoulders, even though I was kind of facing that uncertainty of finances. And you know, so kind of all those months I was just kind of like walking around, like just kind of basically enjoying life, enjoying the freedom, because I had been working full time, going to college full time since I was 18. I graduated high school early and it was like, peace out, I hate high school, F you guys, I'm gonna go work. Because to me that sounded more appealing. Capricorn much? So this is the first time I had had a break in a long time. So I was just relishing in the freedom. And during this time, I was to come to fill that spot of my divine counterpart was a member of my soul tribe, a really amazing person and friend who she was like the yang to my yin. And that was exactly what it was, is that I was missing that masculine side of me because of how I grew up. And again, that's a longer story within my spiritual awakening, but I have just always leaned so feminine on my feminine side that I had not developed my masculine side. And the importance of the masculine side is your masculine side is the one that offers like the power for boundaries, the power to speak up, is the kind of power within it. And everybody has the masculine and feminine. It's just part of our soul. It's part of the balance. We each have every single piece. So she helped ignite my masculine and I helped ignite her feminine. And so we were just so close. We got close so fast during the pandemic. We would just video chat till 1 a.m. and we worked together, but we really didn't know each other. But it was just that soul pull, you know, was pulling us in. And so we were really igniting each other, and she's like, let's do a card reading. And she did a card reading for me and so didn't know what to expect. I was like, I mean, okay, what are you gonna tell me? And she read those cards that basically went straight to me and were like, hey, guess what? You're not being who you truly are. Huh? Like, it took me a minute to actually like hear the message because I was so against hearing it. Because I was terrified to change parts of myself. What would people think? But something about these cards made me be like, oh my God. Like, I am not kidding. It was the cards that completely snapped me into my spiritual awakening. Like my true spiritual, where I opened up to my spirituality with my gifts, my intuition, everything. I was snapped in that moment because my logical brain couldn't make sense of it. The cards were telling me straight there, hitting me in the heart. I was bawling and I was like, what the like my mind was blown. And I took it, I ran straight with it. I was like, I'm changing everything about myself. And I changed my whole apartment to, you know, this bohemian, got my nose pierced, like, and they may not seem like big things, but I was just starting to listen to what I believed in and what I wanted and what felt true to me. And see, I've been a people pleaser my whole life. So I would never usually do things that I want to do because what would people think? I started reading these cards, right? As you guys know, started my channel because all of a sudden I was like, holy shit, this is what I've been missing my whole life. I just couldn't believe that I had been walking around blind this whole time. So that's kind of how I woke up in October, and I started some very intense shadow work, and I've been in a dark night of the soul since 2018. And I also am in my Saturn return, and if you guys aren't sure what a Saturn return is, I can do another video on it. But you hit your Saturn return about every 28 to 30 years. So usually when you're like 28 to 30, you'll hit your first one, and then you'll hit one when you're 60, around there, and then another one. And basically, if you guys know Saturn, Saturn is the ruler of kind of kicking us into shape. Saturn is very powerful, so I'm also went through the Saturn return. So meaning a lot of shit was kicked out of my life I lost my job was one of them. Kind of going back to that friend that I've been talking about, I actually lost her. She walked out of my life. I lost my money security. As you guys know, I've been talking about that. I've just lost a lot of things in my life, and the one thing, and this is kind of where all that tangent is getting to, the one thing that pulled me through was gratitude. And you know, I know that can sound like so new agey. And here's the thing, is I want to preface, it's not like I had a gratitude journal every single day. Yes, that's really good, and I want to get into a better habit, but I would just simply change my mindset. When all this shit was falling around me, instead of being like, why is this happening to me? I kind of started to realize, and getting that intuition hit, that it was happening to make space for something better. To make space for something better. And because I kind of knew that was just the truth, or more so I hoped it was, right? Because I didn't know for a long time. I was like, I don't know what I'm believing in. You know, I'm new to all this spirituality stuff, manifestation, all this. I don't know what's real and what's not. So, but I'm like, but I have to believe in that something is gonna get better. Because that's just always kind of been, I'm grateful, that's always just been a lot of my attitude. I'm a very big optimist. So just every day when things would happen, or when all these things fall in my life, I would just say, I know that something better is gonna happen. I know that this is making space for something better. The hard part about that is the patience, because, and maybe, you know, I think for some people it's different. For me, that's actually one of my strengths, is patience. I am probably too patient for my own good, honestly. And so I know Spirit kind of uses that strength to kind of, you know, continue to push me. So it's just now. When was 2018, like 3.5, 4 years later, since 2020, almost a year later, that things are finally starting to fill those empty spaces. And I'm not saying this to discourage you. I'm saying this that if you guys are going through your spiritual awakening, your dark night of the soul, if you go through a Saturn return, all these things that are gonna come and blow shit down, it's the tower, right? It's the tower moment. When that comes, the best thing you can do is just know that it's happening for you and not to you. And I say that a lot in my videos, but this is kind of where that came from, is that experience. This has been my experience where I know that if I wasn't in the state of kind of knowing there was something better, then I would be prolonged stuck in this phase. I think that's why 2018 to 2020, that dark night of the soul, was so long, because I was resisting. I was like, why is everything so shitty? You know, why is this happening to me? And really the only, you know, thing that had broken down in my life was my divine counterpart and me had reached our separation. But it rocked me so hard, because obviously it showed me the wounds that I needed to work on. And I was just so resistant. I was so resistant. So I prolonged that dark night of the soul for years until I had that kind of next spiritual awakening where I was like, no, done. I'm so done. So it's just, I want to hopefully save you guys from having to go through more time than you need to in these moments. When things fall down around you, accept it, because it's already happened. And the best thing you can do is accept it and know that that means Spirit is pushing that down to put something better in its place that's meant for you. So that's really what I wanted to share today in Nat's Chats, is really just around gratitude. And it's really just as easy as having it be your mindset. You don't have to daily gratitude journal. It's good to, because it helps build that unconscious pattern faster. But I understand, like, I'm not perfect. I have ADHD and I hate writing. It's just something I don't like. So I have to figure out other ways. And so I just really make a conscious effort when I feel my ego or fear coming forward to say, what are we gonna do? To just, again, kind of take a breath and take an awareness moment and say, I know something better is coming. I know something better is coming. And I believe it, and I've made vision boards and all these things, you know, and so my intention and hope is to save you guys from not having to spend so much time in that pain and darkness. It's so beautiful to be able to look back and be like, holy shit. And realizing that I was in a dark night of the soul this whole time, I still lived my life. That's one thing I also want to preface is, I know dark night of the soul sounds scary, and obviously it's painful, but that doesn't mean that good things don't happen during that time. I've had amazing things happen during this time. This YouTube channel has happened during my dark night of the soul. This new job I'm getting, I've changed so much. All the healing I've done, like the most amazing things have happened because of my dark night of the soul. So I don't want you guys to worry that it's just gonna suck for a few years. No, it will suck, but it's because it's preparing you. And then when those beautiful things do come into your life, you're gonna be so much more grateful for them because of what you had to endure. So this new job that's gonna be coming into my life, having that security again, and making more money than I was when I got laid off, right? Like these feelings are so, I'm just so grateful that I made it through and that I pushed myself through that tunnel. So yeah, that's really what I wanted to share with you guys. I'd love to hear from you guys down below around if you've already been through your dark night of the soul, if you're in it. We also have more than one, so prepare for that. We definitely have more than one. As we transition through our ascension, you have to let go of pieces that don't serve you anymore as you ascend. It's just part of this experience. That's all I have for you guys. So yeah, let me know down below if you have any other suggestions of topics that you want me to cover. I've appreciated the suggestions you guys have mentioned, and I've written them down. So when you're seeing this video, I'm currently on vacation. So this is pre-recorded, but I am having some of those suggestions written down and kind of incorporating them into some of the next videos and just kind of over time. So thank you for your suggestions, and keep them coming. Anything you guys want to see, I'll bring to you, as well as what Spirit wants me to bring to you. So, but that does it for this video. So I will see you guys in the next video. I'm sending you so much love and light on your journey, and I will see you guys next time.